All right, let's jump into this whole nootropics thing. I know you've been curious about BrainPill, and we're going to do a deep dive today and see if it really is the brain booster it claims to be.
We're looking at this topnaturalhealth.com article, by the way.
Okay.
They've got some promo codes, too, so stick around for that later.
But first things first, what exactly a shape BrainPill?
It, promises to supercharge your focus, your memory, learning, all naturally, they say. No crazy stimulants. Sounds kind of too good to be true, right?
It definitely plays into that whole desire we all have for that, enhanced brain power, you know?
Totally.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, gotta understand what we're even talking about here. BrainPill, it's part of this whole world of nootropics, which have been blowing up lately.
Which is interesting, because nootropic, it's a pretty broad term. It's not like there's an official definition or the FDA's like, check, check, check. Risk.
Exactly. It's a bit of a gray area, but basically they're saying nootropics boost your brain memory, focus, some even claim creativity. And you've got everything from caffeine to L-theanine, which, hey, you might already be getting in your green tea, all the way to these complicated formulas like what BrainPill is doing.
So BrainPill is saying they're this natural blend to unlock your brain's full potential.
The Top Natural Health article goes into how it's supposed to work with all these phrases like increasing cognitive endurance, enhancing memory recall, even combating brain fog.
Sounds impressive, but what's the science actually say about all this? What do those terms even mean?
Let's break it down. When they say cognitive endurance, they're talking about how long your brain can focus and work well. Mental stamina, basically.
Oh, okay.
And brain fog, that's more of an everyday term. It's that feeling of being sluggish. You can't concentrate, forget things.
Yeah, I've been there.
Both of these, they're actually connected to how our brain cells talk to each other and use energy.
And that's where BrainPill claims to come in, right?
Yeah.
They're saying by making those processes work better, they can improve, your whole brain function.
Yeah.
But how W? What's the secret sauce?
There's not one magic ingredient. It's more like a combo, each with its own supposed benefits. The article talks about a few key mechanisms, like how they're boosting something called mitochondrial function and stimulating neuroplasticity.
Hold up. Mitochondrial function. Neuroplasticity. Those are some big words. Break those down for us.
Of course. So mitochondria, those are like the tiny power plants inside your cells, even your brain cells.
Okay.
They make energy and how well they're working. That directly affects how well your brain works. Then there's neuroplasticity, which is all about your brain's ability to change and adapt. It's like always forming new connections, which is super important for learning and memory.
So they're saying BrainPill can actually change your brain, physically. That's wild.
It's not quite as dramatic as it sounds. It's really more about nudging those processes along, not some huge brain makeover. The big question is, how good is BrainPill at actually doing that? We got to look at what's in it.
Right, because they're all about this blend of 13 powerful nootropics, each one like the star of the show. Anything in there catch your eye, particularly interesting, maybe actually works.
A few things did, yeah. One is huperzine A. It comes from this Chinese club moss, and it's pretty popular in the nootropics world because there's been research on it, how it might help memory and learning.
So it's not just some random herb they threw in there. There's actual science behind it.
Research, yeah, but you got to be careful. A lot of it is focused on very specific groups of people, like older adults, dealing with their memory declining as they age. Plus, with huperzine A, how much you take makes a big difference. Some studies, they even talk about potential side effects, especially if you're taking it long term.
Okay, so maybe not something to mess around with unless you've talked to your doctor about it.
Yeah.
It's like a good reminder that just because something's natural doesn't mean it's safe or going to work for everyone.
Right. Exactly.
Speaking of interesting ingredients, what about ginkgo biloba? That one pops up a lot in these brain-boosting conversations, too.
Ginkgo biloba is interesting because it's been used in traditional medicine for ages. And there's some evidence that it might help memory and brain function, particularly in, again, older folks. But the research on ginkgo, it's a mixed bag. Some studies are like, wow, big effects. And others are like, not so much. Or even, we see nothing.
Seems like that's a common theme in the supplement world, right? Promising research, but not always a home run. And then there's this whole thing about BrainPill being clinically tested, which the article plays up a lot. How should we understand that? Sounds official, but what does it actually mean for a supplement?
That's the million-dollar question, and honestly, it's not always clear-cut. Clinically tested sounds really impressive, but it doesn't automatically mean there's rock-solid science behind it. We've got to be savvy consumers and look beyond those catchy phrases.
So how do we cut through the marketing hype and figure out if something like BrainPill is really backed up by good science, what should we be looking for?
It's all about looking at the quality of those clinical trials they're talking about. Who paid for the study? Was it done by an independent group or the company selling the product? How many people were in the study? Were the results statistically significant? And importantly, were they clinically meaningful?
Clinically meaningful, meaning like it actually makes a noticeable difference in people's lives, not just some tiny change in a lab somewhere that nobody would even notice.
Exactly. And even if a study does show positive results, you have to think about WHO was in that study. Something that works for healthy college students might not be the same for someone in their 50s or 60s dealing with age-related cognitive changes. Right?
So it's not enough for something to like technically work in a lab. It's got to actually make a difference in the real world for real people.
Exactly. And that's where it gets a little tricky with supplements like BrainPill. The article makes it sound like it's for everyone, right? Stressed students, busy professionals, older folks. But it's probably not that simple.
Right, because we're all different people, different brains, different lives.
Exactly. It's crucial to remember that and approach these things with, a little bit of healthy skepticism. Do your research. Don't just take their word for it. Figure out what your needs are. And hey, if you've got any health conditions or you're worried about something, talk to your doctor.
Be a smart consumer, basically. Take control of your own brain health. So after this deep dive into BrainPill, what's the verdict? Cognitive revolution or just clever marketing?
It's tough to give a simple yes or no. From what we've seen, BrainPill has some ingredients that seem promising, some maybe not so much. It might work for some people, but you got to remember everyone reacts differently to these things.
Your mileage may vary, as they say.
Exactly. And it's important to be realistic. No supplement, even one that's all natural, is a quick fix. Real brain health is about a lot more.
It's not just about popping a pill, right?
Absolutely. You got to think about the whole picture: sleep, stress, staying active, challenging your brain with new things.
It's like playing the long game with your brain.
Now you're getting it. You got to create the right environment for your brain to thrive.
So, want to unlock your brain power? Maybe start with a good night's sleep and a brain-boosting breakfast before you reach for that pill bottle. And hey, if you do decide to try nootropics, do your homework. Be informed. And listen to your body.
Well said. There's no magic answer that works for everyone. You got to find what works for you.
And on that note of personalized brain power, we'll wrap up this deep dive into BrainPill. Don't forget, you can find more information, including those promo codes we talked about, on topnaturalhealth.com. But more importantly, we want to hear from why you go. Have you tried BrainPill or any other nootropics? What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts and experiences on our social media. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive where we go deep so you don't have to.